It's going to require people that are Republican to reach out to their legislators and explain to them how important the issue is to them, or we got to vote them out and put in legislators that can actually get in there and do what the people are asking for.
You see, I'm Southside reppin', Bigfoot steppin', Zone 3 section is God flow perfection. Hating on the church like I ain't blessed they section. If we ain't talking money, I got a weak connection. That's on the hood. She said get a bag, so I get it, got it good. Don't complain about my problems, I just put it in a wood. Seen a genie the other day, she said make it good. So I wish for good health, then I wish to look. It's chief, not lieutenant. Yeah, I'm back, been a minute. My hard work gets you offended. Shout out my boy academics. You stay independent. You scamming it behind that twinkle in your eye. See the scamming.
Still, we'll say that, but we'll still keep things the way they are. Because as soon as you do something out of there, the situation is different.
We just keep our private lives private.
Yep.
All right. Another episode of Minnesota's #1 daily show live on Lake Street. We have Michael Ford in the building. Can you list off all of the businesses that you have? All of the business that you're involved with?
So businesses I'm involved with currently, I'm the executive director of Minnesota NORML.
Okay.
NORML is a nonprofit 501c4 lobbying organization, and we're fighting for the reform of marijuana laws in Minnesota. We've been around for about 10 years now.
Yep.
I'm also the owner of Frankendroid LLC in Canafativa, which is a CBD company, working on health and wellness, trying to break the stigma around cannabis and health and fitness. I also have a online community, Minnesota Marijuana, one of the largest communities in Minnesota based around cannabis, and it's a pretty good community. That's basically the ones that I run. Otherwise, I got a couple others with friends and partners.
So you're really in the driver's seat for trying to move forward in what is one of the most ridiculous laws that we've ever had
Yeah,
in the legalization of marijuana.
yeah.
It's
Right.
yeah, okay. So my first question then to you is, how did you get there? Like what got you to wanting to be that? What got you to want to lead that fight?
Honestly, I didn't really want to lead it.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
like a lot of people, I was just, I was selling medicine to my friends and family.
Okay.
And started doing community stuff, going out to events, handing out cards. I would go to Soundset and I would give out a bunch of weed to people for free and take pictures and stuff. And in 2014, when we passed the medical cannabis program, I got on an interview with NPR News, and they started asking me about how I felt about the new medical bill. And I felt like, it was a step in the right direction. We got our foot in the door. Now we can keep pushing for full legalization. But at the time, I wasn't really actively involved in the efforts to end prohibition in Minnesota.
Okay.
So that kind of pushed me to be like, I want to get more involved. I want to do more than just sell weed or take weed pictures and stuff like that. Reached out to Emin NORML, showed up to the Capitol in 2015 and gave away 420 shirts. And it's kind of crazy how it happened. We did like a drive-by. So the No Words concept is one of the shops that I worked with my shirts when I first started getting into the activism stuff, and we partnered up to print 420 shirts. We drove by the Capitol on 420, and we're just literally opening the side doors, and we're just throwing shirts at people, rolled around the block.
You didn't have the
back.
T-shirt cannon?
No, we didn't have a cannon.
Man.
We would just, it was me and a bunch of old school,
Yeah. That's
and
great.
we rode around the block and we're throwing T-shirts at people. When we came back around the block the second time, first time people were confused. We came around the second time, they were all on the corner like, me, and we were just chucking shirts. And then,
What is it about that, man? Humans are weird. What is it about? You'll see people fighting for a T-shirt at the Timberwolves game from the second level with the T-shirt cannon.
yeah, well, they like the shirts. They
Everybody
like the
loves
merch.
everybody loves a free T-shirt.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Everybody loves
Smart though for you to think of that.
Yeah, right. So, started getting involved with Emin NORML. They invited me to be part of the board of directors when Marcus Harkis was the executive director. We didn't have access to funding at the time, and the harder it was to get funding, it was harder to keep employees and to keep the organization going. They were thinking about dissolving the chapter, and I basically stepped up, was like, I'll take it with no pay and just do the best I can with what we got.
Yeah.
We basically ran the organization with no money. And just continued to do that. At the same time I was doing that, I became the chairman of Legal Marijuana Now. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the political parties here in Minnesota.
I mean, not really, no.
So we have two major political parties. There's Legal Marijuana Now, Grassroots Legalized Cannabis. When I started working with them, there was just a handful of people there. They elected me to be the chairman. And as the chair, I started organizing the political party, started getting people to run for office. We marched in parades, we did festivals and all of that stuff to kind of build, visibility for the legalization movement. In Minnesota, unfortunately, it's not like Colorado where you can petition to add legalization to the ballot. It's not initiative, so it actually has to go through the legislature. So in order for us to bring visibility to the legislators to show them that it's an issue that people care about, we would run candidates, and those candidates will get votes, and we'll show the legislators that it's an issue people care enough about to actually give away their vote to these candidates. In 2018, I organized a campaign. We collected almost 15,000 signatures in 11 days.
Wow.
We got 7 candidates on the ballot, including myself as state auditor. Actually went on and got 133,000 votes.
Wow.
Yeah. So because of that, we got 5% of the vote. That made us, we made history. We became a major political party in Minnesota, like the DFL and the GOP. We actually didn't do it once. We did it twice, both with Legal Marijuana Now and Grassroots. Our Attorney General candidate also got 5% of the vote. So,
Wow.
yeah. So major political parties. Great. It's great things. The legislators, they started panicking. They started introducing all kind of bills to legalize it. And like, man, they got the message. They got the memo. They're going to actually do something. Nothing actually happened. Now in 2020, we had our election. The Republican Party actually started running candidates on the Legal Marijuana Now Grassroots tickets to steal votes away from Democrats in swing districts. Now, I know it gets a little crazy when you start talking about politics and stuff like that, but
It's an important part of this
yeah,
though.
it is, because, if you don't know how to get it legal, you can't actually get it legal. It did work in some areas, unfortunately. And then one of the candidates that were actually recruited by the Republican was a family member. One of the other ones, actually Adam Weeks, who ran against Angie Craig, I believe, ended up passing before his election. And we had him on the Can of Joe show I was telling you about. He was talking about how he was recruited by the Republicans and that he was running to steal votes.
So he became the ops.
Yeah,
Oh.
basically.
You say family member, you mean an actual family member of yours, or like a family
Yeah.
member of that?
Well, my girlfriend, my wife's brother.
Got you.
So, brother-in-law.
That caused a rift in the family?
No, it
No?
didn't cause a rift, but he
Okay.
didn't really know what he's doing. They
Gotcha.
used him. They took advantage of him. He's blind. He's a military veteran. He cares about cannabis legalization. He's Native American. He's from the White Earth, Anishinaabe. He's extremely compassionate about cannabis legalization, so he thought he was doing the right thing.
Oh.
They
Dirty.
paid his fee for him and everything. So, yeah, it was kind of a crappy situation.
That's why this is an important conversation. That's some dirty shit. Because I'm a very simplistic and logical thinker about things
Right.
that are simplistic to me. And it seems to me like the legalization of marijuana in the entire world makes sense. It doesn't make sense that it's a free-for-all in Colorado and a free-for-all in California and Las Vegas
18 other states.
and 18 others. So
Right.
what's the holdup? You know what I mean? In my mind, like, what's the holdup? And obviously, the holdup is politics.
Yeah,
That's
it's exactly.
Nobody
politics.
actually is like the people that are fighting against it. What do you think they do at the end of every day? Probably smoke some weed,
Probably
take some weed product, something.
Yep,
You know what I mean?
some
Like,
CBD,
yes,
whatever
they're
it is.
doing something. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's clearly not about. I'm sure for some there are probably people out there that still think weed is the devil. I'm sure.
Right.
I'm sure they exist, but most people know damn well that not only is it beneficial, health beneficial, but it booms economies.
Yeah, it definitely does. And think about all the businesses that it can create in Minnesota for
Yeah.
farmers, for people that want to be growers, for
Yep.
people that want to own dispensaries. But
Especially in Minnesota, we're quote unquote flyover country. We got cornfields. Like what?
For days.
For days. We could be
Right.
like you think Arizona. You think the other states are booming. Like
Right.
it would be crazy here. Our economy would
Textiles, yep.
soar.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be crazy.
But the thing is when we think about recreational, we always tend to leave out the other aspects of it. The illegal part, the criminal part, the part where people are still being incarcerated,
Yep.
the part where people are in jail. So as we're making billions and billions of dollars, there's still people spending life in prison
Yep.
because of marijuana offenses. I think we did an article last week where we were talking about a guy that was in Mississippi that just got life for 43 grams of weed. 43 grams. So, we got to kind of, take a look at the whole thing. It's not just about a party. It's not just about recreational. It's not just about hemp and textiles and making billions of dollars. It's about correcting the rights,
Yeah.
the wrongs that were made by this. The people that lost their children, Child Protection Service for having marijuana, the people that are still in jail, the people that continue to go to jail. We got to get them out of there. We got to expunge criminal records. We got to give people an opportunity to actually be a part of an industry that already incriminated them for doing something that shouldn't have been illegal in the first place.
So I assume that's also a part of your fight.
Yep, it definitely is. Ryan Winkler is the House Majority Leader.
Okay.
He actually is the legislator that introduced HF 600. We did pass that in the House. It went
What,
through
what
12.
is, what's H? What, can you explain what that is?
So HF 600 was a bill that was introduced by Ryan Winkler. He's the House Majority Leader, and that bill was one of the first bills to get introduced in the House to fully legalize marijuana in Minnesota.
Gotcha.
2019, I met with him. He said he was going to do a campaign around the state to actually get advice and feedback from the people in the state about what legalization should look like. He followed through with that. He hosted a Be Heard on Cannabis where he went to all the different parts of the state to get feedback. Started working on the bill, but then we had the pandemic and the George Floyd situations, and he called us in and was like, look, we're not going to put this on the back burner. We do got a lot of stuff we're dealing with now, but we're going to bring it back. When session came back, he actually followed through with his word, brought the bill back. A lot of work getting through 12 different committees. The bill passed in the House. Didn't get a hearing in the Senate. And it seems like we get the same dialogue over and over, not only in Minnesota, but at the national level. We're passing bills through the House to fully legalize federally, but then when it gets to the Senate, it's getting blocked. So in Minnesota, it didn't get a hearing in the Senate. The Republicans are blocking every attempt to pass any type of legalization in Minnesota. Now, I say Republicans because it's basically the Republicans hold control of the Senate, but there are Republicans that do support full legalization. So it's not all Republicans. So it's going to require people that are Republican to reach out to their legislators and explain to them how important the issue is to them, or we got to vote them out and put in legislators that can actually get in there and do what the people are asking for.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. So realistically, from your point of view, how close is Minnesota to being an open state as far as use?
I mean, we're getting closer and closer. We're getting closer and closer.
I mean, are we years away? Are we months away? Are we
definitely not months
a
away.
decade away?
Definitely not months away. I think it'll probably be legal federally first.
Okay. So you don't think it will be just, you think the federal legalization of it will be a part of that?
I think it's likely to happen there before it does in Minnesota. We got a lot of work to do here. We
Yeah.
did actually start a coalition with MN Normal, MRMR, which is another nonprofit working on legalization and sensible change in Minnesota. And they've been working on the medical expansion in Minnesota, and it's called MN is Ready.
Okay.
We just launched it. We just launched the website, so we're going to be doing a lot of work. But this year is going to be important because it's an election year. It's an election year because last year we had the census, and every time they run the census, all of the legislators are up for re-election. The governor's up for re-election, the House is up for re-election, the Senate is up for re-election. So this is an important opportunity for us to get out and vote for the right legislators. If we can vote in the right legislators, we can pass legalization. If we don't, I can't say how long it's going to be.
I'm gonna need you to tell me who to vote for then.
Oh yeah, I can definitely refer you to MN is Ready.
Yeah.
You can go in there and get all the information
Yeah,
you need
man.
on who to vote for. There's a couple candidates that are fully legalized, about full legalization. Obviously, Tim Walz has always been about full legalization since he started his campaign. He came down to our booth that we run at the state fair
I
every
don't know if
year.
you
on
should say that
smelling.
name on this show.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
sorry,
just playing.
Tim. Sorry, or whatever. But he does support full legalization.
That's good.
And he has said that if a bill got to his desk, he would sign it. On the other hand,
If a bill got to his desk, he put some weed on it, roll it up, and smoke it.
right, right. But on the other hand, Senator Scott Jensen, who was also running for governor, also has said that he supports some forms of cannabis legalization. Not as strong on it as Tim Walz is. Scott Jensen actually introduced a bill in the Senate, co-authored a bill to legalize cannabis in the Senate. And he's a Republican, so that's huge. The bill did not prevail. It didn't pass. But he does believe in some reforms. So Tim Walz has definitely got an A on legalization.
Okay. So let's clear the air on this bill that recently passed that everybody is so excited about, because it's not what everybody thinks it is.
No, it's not.
So what was it, about a week ago? It might have been 2 weeks ago?
July 1st.
July 1st, that's right.
Yep.
It went, this bill passed that July 1st, there was a legalization of hemp-derived edibles,
THC.
THC edibles,
Yep.
in 5 milligram doses.
Right.
And I think, including myself, it was like,
Right.
oh, hey, that's a step in the right direction. But now I'm finding out that, and maybe it still was, but
Right.
can you break it down what the actual bill was? What actually happened?
So basically, the bill was a step in the right direction as far as regulation, but it was not as good of a step in the right direction for people who are looking for more THC products. Currently, people were already selling THC products in Minnesota, hemp-derived THC.
Yeah.
But there was no regulation. There was no limit on how much hemp-derived THC your products could have in it. What this bill does is it limits the amount of THC, hemp-derived THC products that you can have in your products. So previously, if you would have had, a gummy with 25 milligrams or an edible with 25 milligrams of THC, now it can only have 5 milligrams per serving.
So you got to eat 5 of them.
You got to eat 5 of them. Yep, you get 5 milligrams per serving, up to 50 milligrams per package.
Yeah.
So it dramatically reduces the amount of hemp-derived THC in products. It regulates it. It sets it so you need to be 21 years or older to actually purchase these products. It makes it so the people that are carrying these products have to actually have third-party lab testing for the products to make sure that they do qualify and meet the actual requirements for hemp-derived THC edibles.
So to break it down in simple terms, consumers did not necessarily win.
No.
But as far as the political point and the fact that the moving forward in the full legalization, it was a good thing.
I mean, yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
To get it regulated. We
Yeah.
want it to be regulated.
Yeah.
We don't want just random products on the market that may not be healthy, that may not be good for people. So yeah, it's a good thing and step in the right direction as far as trying to get things regulated in Minnesota.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's good. Well, I'm glad I know, and now that people can know.
Yeah,
'Cause-
hopefully everybody else knows, because people are like, oh, THC edibles are legal. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hemp-derived THC. So don't just go home and whip up a batch of THC edibles in your kitchen and think it's legal for you to stand on the corner and sell those products. It's
Yeah.
not. You'll find yourself in a situation, you'll be kind of
Yeah.
confused. Like,
Yeah,
the law
yeah.
says this, but, most people hear the big headlines but don't read the actual article, don't
Exactly.
read the small print. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it.
That's why I'm glad. That's why I'm
not-
glad you're here today, so you
Right.
could put it out there, so people don't have to read. They can just listen to you say
Yeah.
these things, because it's important stuff to know. Because even I just learned this today. I didn't
Right.
know this.
Right.
I'm listening to the news. I mean, they're talking about it like, "Hey, weed's legal." Like, no, that ain't what happened. That's not what
even
happened.
close.
Yeah.
And that's what happened is the news media takes it and blows it all up.
Yeah.
And now, you've got this misconception of what legal is and what's legal.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, it seems like we're moving in a good direction, anyways.
Yeah.
I think it's silly that, I'd like to see. More than anything, I'm not a huge weed user. Like, I don't smoke really. I'll take edibles sometimes, but like, I've never seen anybody. I've never seen weed hurt anybody.
No, there's zero deaths, zero documented deaths
Yeah.
solely from cannabis.
Yeah, like the fact that you can go out and drink to the point where you have alcohol poisoning and then
Die.
get put in the hospital
Yeah.
and you don't get charged with nothing.
No,
You know what I mean? But
you purchase as much alcohol as you want. Fill
Yeah.
your whole trunk up,
yeah,
kegs, whatever you want.
Yeah.
But, get out there and drive, crash, then you'll get in trouble. But it's legal for you to purchase it.
yep.
So,
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me, but that's where we are. What is so? And maybe you're not even the right person to ask this, but there's been a conversation lately about legalization versus decriminalization. What is the difference?
so legalization basically means that it's legal.
It's just
100% legal.
Yeah.
Grow your own, or depending on how they set up legalization. Decriminalization means that you don't go to jail for it. Still legal, but you just don't go to jail. Less, you're not going to get incarcerated. You'll get a ticket. or
So they
something like
just
that.
okay, got it. So you don't. It's not something that's like going to go on your permanent record.
Right.
It's like a speeding ticket.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, got you. Let's talk a little bit about this event that we
Ooh.
linked up for.
Oh, that's going to be dope.
Yeah,
Dope.
Loud on Lake Street.
Loud on
August,
Lake Street.
August 13th.
August 13th. Yep.
Yeah, man.
So, I think it's going to be a pretty dope experience. So I do the Loud on the River events. I've been doing those for about 5 years now.
Yeah.
We started on a small boat, went to a bigger boat. So a lot of people wanted to get involved in that, but the cost for that big boat and all of that is extremely expensive. So to be able to do something in Minneapolis that's cost efficient, that people can actually afford to attend, I think it's huge. Opportunity for local businesses and brands to come out and vend and share their products and their business and stuff. Opportunity for local artists to come out and share their music and stuff. So if they didn't get signed up, I think they should get signed up immediately. I think it's going to be a huge deal, and hopefully we can continue to do this going forward.
Yeah, no, this is something I think, Chief and I were talking about. Like, this is how Soundset started.
Yeah.
And actually, to be honest with you, Soundset started even smaller because Soundset started in like a garage. So I think this could be that.
Yeah.
I think Loud on Lake Street could be that type of an event. I think it's something that could grow every year.
Yeah, especially with the right people dedicated and willing to keep pushing it.
For sure. So
and
between you and us and obviously AK,
Yep.
it's going to be a monster, man. It's going to be fun.
It is. And I do want to add that we will be doing it a fundraiser for MN Normal as well.
For sure. Big deal.
Right. So if you guys want to come out and donate or something, we'll have a donate bucket out there, and all those profits will go towards legalization. So,
Yeah. So if you're going to spend some money on some products,
yeah,
spend some money on getting them legalized too.
yeah,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? Like-
So you can do it legally and
Yeah.
not have to get your door kicked in.
For sure.
So-
For sure. So I want to tell you something that I've never told you, and I was going to tell you before we crack the mics, but I want to say before the mic. One of my biggest regrets in my career actually involved you. You never knew this.
Oh,
So back in 2016, I know you remember at Myth, Redman, Devin the Dude, Dizzy
Yeah.
Wright.
yep,
That's where first time I ever met you was
Yep.
there. You had a little shop there.
yep. Had our
little table popped up.
set up, donation bucket.
So that night, that's when I was doing the Wiseman show, and we had an opportunity to interview all three headliners.
Okay.
So early in the night, we interviewed Dizzy Wright, and then we interviewed Devin the Dude. And one of the things that we did with Devin is, I don't know if you know who, what's his name? DJ, shit, this is not good. Can't remember his name. One of the DJs that was DJing that night, a local Minnesota DJ, right? He was in the green room at the time of the interview.
Okay.
And he was talking to us prior to interviewing Devin the Dude about how big of a fan he is of Devin the Dude.
Okay.
So I let him be the fourth mic in the interview.
Okay.
So I allowed him to be a part of the interview and interview Devin the Dude with us. I was heartbroken at the end of the night when we interviewed Redman and we discussed the legalization of marijuana and that I hadn't invited you to be the fourth mic on that one.
Right.
Because it would have been so perfect
Yeah.
Because I know we probably would have ended up with him for like an hour and a half instead of the 40 minutes that we got. But that's when he was talking about, that's pretty early in the process. And he was talking about actually being a little standoffish about working with like dispensaries, because at the time dispensaries were getting their doors kicked in.
Right.
And under federal investigation, and like people were very, very resistant to the idea of legally selling weed. So he was a little nervous about it. But one of the biggest regrets, man, is not asking you to be a part of that.
Man, I'm honored that you.
It would have been.
Yes.
I mean, it was a cool interview, but I think it would have been a slightly more interesting and informational interview, and I think y'all would have had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I think so. And it's crazy because 2 years after that is when I actually ran for office for state auditor, and we made those major political parties. And it's crazy because Redman's doing something similar to that right now, trying to create marijuana parties.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to do the same thing that we already accomplished here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people really don't, they're like, they're not into politics, but like it's history. Like it's huge, man. And there's other people around the nation that are trying to duplicate the same effort, man. And it's just, dope to see other people trying to do the same thing.
And we need regular, non-lifetime politicians to infiltrate politics.
Yeah.
Because it's right now, and not even right now, but forever, we've had these lifetime politicians. It's like even the people that we think we like, they've been politicians their whole lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know I loved Barack Obama when he was in office.
Right.
Still a lifetime politician.
Right.
Don't always know if you can trust these guys.
No, you really
You know what I mean? Like, on the outside, he looks like he's just a genuine guy.
Right.
And I want to believe that.
Right.
But, like, George W. Bush, how did he ever become the president of the United States? You know what I mean? Like, that's...
Politics is crazy, man. There's so much money involved in it. And then when you think about presidents, like, president doesn't really run anything, does he?
No, doesn't seem like
He's
it.
just like the face.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's the face.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, what face do we want to put on it this year? Let's
Yeah.
put this face on there. And they still run everything, behind the scenes. And I don't want to get too deep into politics because,
We've been choosing some wild faces, though.
yeah, some real crazy.
Especially the last two.
Yeah.
The current one and the last one.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, man.
It's big money going on.
I guess.
Big money, something out
I
of
guess.
our informational scheme of.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not going to lie. I voted for Biden just because I wanted the other guy to go away.
Right.
Not for any other reason.
Well,
I just wanted him to go away. I was tired of seeing him on TV and hearing him talk.
right. And that's kind of what happens with these third parties.
Yeah.
Like, people vote for the third parties just because they don't want to vote for either party.
Yeah.
They're just tired of the bull crap. And even though it's ironic in Minnesota, we have these parties and we're trying to tell people, hey, if you want legalization, don't vote for the third party. You got to vote for the candidate that's going to legalize it.
Yep.
Because actually the third party candidates are able to steal votes, but they're not able to actually fix the law. And then even if we do get somebody elected on the marijuana parties, are they going to actually be able to go in there and change the law?
And will they, once they get there, will they actually follow through?
Yeah.
That's the other thing, too, is you get a lot of promises. I don't know about locally, but obviously at a national level, guys have been promising shit forever, and then they don't do nothing.
No, they don't follow through.
You don't even hear a lick about it. You know what I mean? It's like,
And it's crazy. That's kind of why I like to mention Ryan. I keep mentioning Ryan Winkler because he's actually a House majority, but he's running for Hennepin County District Attorney this year. But he's one of those guys that has said something and then he followed through.
Yeah.
And he said something and followed through. And that's rare to find that with politicians. They say stuff and then they get into office and, you don't hear from them again until the next election.
are we going to see, do you think we'll see any of these, like, will Ryan show up for Loud on Lake Street? Will we have some of these politicians out there?
I did reach out to him and asked him if he was willing to show up, and he thinks it'll be a great opportunity to get out and talk to the community. So
Shake some hands and, yeah.
I don't know. He told me personally that he's willing to come speak, so it sounds like, we'll potentially have Ryan there. So
That would be great.
I'll keep you guys updated on that. So
That would be really great, man. So what else can we look forward to from you, man? I know you're doing a lot, man. You're doing a lot.
Yeah. So,
What do we need to be on the lookout for?
so we got like the Loud on the River. We got the Loud on Lake Street.
When's Loud on the River?
Loud on the River is the 14th.
So day after?
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So 13th is Loud on Lake Street. 14th is Loud on the River. So people that are buying tickets for the Loud on the River are getting tickets to that event. to Loud on the River, Loud on Lake Street, and then we actually have Stephen Marley at Big Lake on the 23rd of this month too.
Really?
Yeah, so people that buy those tickets are getting tickets to all 3 of those events. Stephen Marley, Loud on Lake Street, Loud on the River. And then after that, we have Black Entrepreneurial State Fair with Nene and Baked Brand. Yeah. So we'll be doing that again this year. We've been at her event every year.
We'll be there as well.
And then I think I'm going to have Ryan Winkler speak there too. I think we're putting together a panel discussion. And then we also have, after that, we'll be at the State Fair. So at the State Fair, we're usually on Snelling right outside the main gate. We like to have our own area. Inside the State Fair, they got rules, regulations. Outside, we're 420 friendly, and we've been in the same spot for 6 years, so we go to the same spot every year. People already know where to find us.
No one give you no shit about it?
No.
You're good to be there?
Yeah.
That's dope.
It's ironic that, like, last year there were people actually directing them to our booth outside.
Wow.
How to find us.
That's great.
We started with a small corner of a yard, then they gave us the whole yard, and the neighbor was like, you want our yard? They gave us their yard, and the next neighbor was like, so we ended up with like 4 yards in a row one year. So.
Wow. So you got a busy August.
Yeah, very busy.
That's really dope, though.
And then it's going to continue to be busy all the way into November because obviously there's elections. So we'll be doing voter registration, leading us into GOTV to get out the vote, to remind people to get out and vote. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of work going on.
Okay. Well, very dope. This is very dope, man. I'm happy to hear all this. So the last thing, I guess, is just I want to give you the space to just add any words of wisdom or some game or anything for any of the people that are watching.
I think I said most of the words of wisdom that I had, man. The most important thing that people can do if they want to see full legalization, get registered to vote, do your research, and vote for legislators that are actually going to pass legalization and not stop it. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. You got to do your research yourself. Edibles are not legal. They're legal if they follow the parameters and they're hemp-derived THC. Be smart, don't find yourself in a situation that's bad. Yep. Just keep, pushing forward,
For sure. And you keep pushing forward as well, man. You got our full support.
Man, I appreciate it.
And I'm excited to do this event.
Yeah.
And I might have to pull up and see Stephen Marley too, man.
Yeah, if you need, let me know. I'll drop some tickets to you guys and you can pull up.
For sure. I'm gonna let you know, man. Well, shit, I appreciate your time. This is a good conversation.
Yeah, I appreciate
I learned a lot today.
Well.
I always like to learn during these episodes, man.
Right.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So shout out to you, man. Where can everybody? What do they need? What do they need to follow?
Minnesota Normal. So that's MNNORML. You can find us on Facebook, or you can just go to our website is MINN normal NORML.org. Min Marijuana, you can find Minnesota Marijuana, and that's MINN marijuana.com. Otherwise, you can find us on all social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube.
Okay.
So,
dope, very dope. And the Can of Joe podcast.
And the Can of Joe Morning Show.
Can of Joe Morning Show.
Yeah, so you can find Can of Joe Morning Show on Facebook.
Yep.
Otherwise, we're on the Minnesota Marijuana YouTube. We usually go in the morning. We broadcast around 10 o'clock. I think we're taking a break right now until we get our stuff set up with Loud on the River, Loud on Lake Street, and we got a lot of stuff going on. But you can definitely find Can of Joe on there. We're in the metaverse. We're emojis, kind of weird looking, but we do drop a lot of knowledge on there as well, do articles. So
for sure.
Dope.
Very dope, man. I appreciate your time.
Hey, I appreciate you too.
It's been another episode of Minnesota's #1 daily show live on Lake Street. Make sure y'all pop out to Loud on Lake Street event, August 13th. And now an ad for that. That's it. We out.
Damn, what it? In high school, I let it blam, what it? I wasn't playing, what it? I'm coming straight out the south. Hey, genius, best watch your mouth. When I put up on PNB, right, then ain't he come out. You moving ounces, I just moved 100 things in a drought. You want the south side, outside the fence of your house. You talking all that, then wanna come talk it out. If you ain't talking money, you talking about. I gives a what you do, I'm about mine. I just look at the watch, said it's about time. She in love with my status, said if you don't mind, what are you the chief of? I said the South Side.